"I just want to play in the snow," Elijah screamed as we were walking out the door of City Arts. Stephen and I looked at each other and we both rolled our eyes. "We know you do, Elijah. You want to play in the snow every week. But remember, we're here to take pictures." "Well, then, can I play on the playground?" Elijah said back. "Before you can go and play in the snow or on the playground, you have to take the pictures," I replied. Yeah, Elijah said as he shrugged and ran quickly down the road with the gray digital camera dangling off of his wrist. "How many pictures do I have to take again?" he yelled behind him as Stephen and I changed our brisk walk into a light jog chasing after him. "We have to take pictures of everything on the list today," Stephen yelled back. "Now can you please slow down?" This was how every Friday afternoon went at City Arts. Every Friday, us college kids from Providence would get in one of the vans and drive on over to Broad Street. We would walk up the stairs and sit in one of the classrooms waiting for our young artists to come up and greet us. When the young artists came in, we would start with an icebreaker and then get down to business, which meant taking pictures. Every week, we would have a different theme or a different photo scavenger hunt to go on around the community. And every single week, all Elijah wanted to do was play in the snow. Or do anything other than take pictures for that matter. This was so disappointing to me. I went into this partnership experience excited to discover a new community through the eyes of one of its members. I was excited to build a strong relationship with my young artist. But Elijah, he didn't really want to do any of that. All he wanted to do was play in the snow. And so week after week went by, photo activity after photo activity. Getting Elijah to take pictures was like pulling teeth, and I just couldn't understand why all the other students were so into taking pictures and Elijah just did not want to. Of course, I got the difficult one, I thought to myself. And so we would walk around the community, up and down different streets, and Elijah would take pictures as quickly as he could so that, yep, you guessed it, he could go and play in the snow. Going to City Arts became really hard for me, as I became more frustrated each week with my young artist. I just couldn't understand why he didn't want to take the pictures. When you look at a photograph, you're looking at something more complex than you think. Eric Sung, Life Advice, January 31st, 2017. It was a typical Friday afternoon and we were at City Arts. We walked into the room upstairs and found a table covered in old photos, faded and crinkling on the corners. Our young artists were told to choose 3 photos and then to go outside and take pictures that these photographs had inspired for them. I mumbled under my breath to Stephen, "Well, it's going to be another challenging day, huh?" I told Elijah to go and take a look at some photos while I went to put on my coat. Just then, I heard, Dee, I know this place, as he began pulling on my sleeve. "What?" I exclaimed. In his hand, Elijah had a photo of what looked like an older building. "What is it?" I asked. "I'll show you," he said. With a light and determination in his eyes that I had not seen before, he went running for the door. He passed the snow, he didn't even mention it. Slow down, Stephen and I yelled to Elijah, as we did every single week. Yet, this week, it seemed a little bit different. We followed him down the street, made a few turns, and there it was, before our very eyes, the same building that was in the photograph, just a little more run down. "It's the community center," Elijah said, with a special kind of contentness in his tone. I stood there in complete shock. I was taken aback. Wow, I thought to myself, this was it. This was learning a community from the eyes of its members. This moment showed me not only the power that a photograph can provoke, but the power of photography as a medium through which visions and voices can surface and be heard. Even more profound was when Elijah pointed out a single bed of flowers growing around the frozen dirt and snow outside of the community center, soaking up every last bit of sunshine that they could get. Elijah said, "I love those flowers. It's like a mix of my 2 favorite seasons, summer and winter. I'll call it Swinter, or Wummer." As I giggled, I realized that Elijah had an eye for detail and a love for nature, which is something I had never realized because I was so caught up on sticking to the task and getting him to take the photos. And then he said, "Can I go play in the snow now?" I laughed. "Only if I can go with you." And I ran ahead of him towards the patch of snow that lay in front of the City Arts building, with a huge smile on my face. This moment taught me that Elijah was a lot like that flower, and that community is a lot like a garden. Flowers are unique. They grow at different speeds and to different lengths. Some take longer than others to bloom, but regardless, blooming still takes time. Flowers grow alongside one another in the garden. Every flower is different, yet every flower is important. Whether it be a sunflower, a wildflower, or a weed, they all have common roots. Without diversity in the garden, it would not be the beautiful creation that it is. Communities are like gardens. Gardens take a lot of time and effort to maintain, just like our partnership. It can be challenging sometimes because the soil is layered and the layout is complex, but with hard work and dedication, the garden flourishes. The garden has many needs, but it also has many resources. I think it is safe to say that the flowers know the garden best. They have insights that others would not have. Just like this, community members hold a special expertise and vision of their community. Communities are co-creations, and so is photography. There is a reciprocity in partnerships like that of City Arts and Providence College that has taught me that I have just as much to learn as I have insight to offer. I oftentimes think back to that moment with Elijah, on that warmer day in which you could feel spring tiptoeing around the corner. Elijah, he shocked me. He knew his community and he was excited to show it. He loved nature. Nature to him was art. I had not realized this right away. It took time and an open heart to let Elijah show me his community, and he saw a space that he passes every single day in a new light, which was also special for me to experience. After this day, Elijah was ready and engaged each and every Friday. There was a new confidence in him. He was proud to show us and teach us about his community through photography, and we were just as excited to learn from him. He showed us a more complex image of what his community looked like and the experiences that he has every day. Elijah opened my eyes and showed me how special photography really is. He helped me to grow and learn alongside him. He showed me a new kind of intentionality. Every week after this, Elijah was ready to show Stephen and I something new, and we let him, whether we got the activities done or not. He taught me that building relationships and cultivating trust takes time. Yet, because Elijah was open and honest with me, I felt that I could be the same way with him. From then on, I was all ears, listening and learning from him every single Friday, absorbing this raw material of what the community looked like from his eyes, informing me and motivating me to photograph in new ways. This moment really changed the rest of the semester for me. It changed the way that I took photos. It pushed me to think unconventionally. Elijah not only taught me the importance of taking time in building and understanding community, he taught me to be open, to listen to new perspectives, and to learn in different ways. He taught me the importance of honesty and transparency in partnerships. He taught me to take the time to get to know people individually and to hear them out. He taught me that flowers bloom at different rates and that gardens take time to grow. But most importantly, he taught me that sometimes it is important to stop and take a second to play in the snow.